Steve, why don't we just talk very quickly about the scene there? This has been something for years where people would line up, stay overnight, try and get their hands on these things. I know it's still a really big deal in China. How about here in New York?
Yeah, Becky, and as you said, Tim Cook did just walk in. I'm expecting him to come out right when the doors open at 8 and welcome all these people who are standing in line. Believe it or not, here we are all these years after the original iPhone. People do stand in line. There's a line actually around the block right behind me. You can't see it in this shot. And people have been waiting here for the last few hours, not necessarily overnight. I talked to one couple from Brazil who they're actually here to pick up an Apple Watch, not the new iPhone. They're here to get the new watch before they head back to Brazil on Sunday. And then as far as what this means and the sales mix and so forth, what we're looking for is the mix of Pros versus the regular iPhone. The early sales data we've gotten, Becky, has shown that the Pros are actually selling better, which is great for the average selling price that Apple gives. And remember that last earnings, Tim Cook had said we're going to see modest revenue growth in this quarter. And that's kind of explains why they're releasing this phone a week earlier. They're going to get that extra week of sales to round out this quarter and their fiscal year, Becky.
Hey, Steve, the higher selling price for the Pro is a big deal. Do they also have higher margins, though? I'd heard that the margins aren't necessarily higher.
Yeah, that's right, Becky. So they are raising prices to kind of offset that a little bit in other countries where the dollar is extra strong. So the UK is seeing higher prices. But yeah, that was a surprise last week when I was out in Cupertino. Everyone was expecting them to protect their margins, raise prices. And this is a signal that, look, as we're heading into a recession, we heard what the FedEx CEO said yesterday. Instead of rattling people by raising prices here in the U.S., they're keeping it at the same level that it's been the last couple years. So whether or not they can keep those margins as high as they have been, we're going to find out in about a month when they report earnings.
Sarah, there are so many more questions today, even more than there were yesterday at this point, after we've heard from FedEx and their concerns about the slowing economy around the globe. What does that portend for Apple? Is the iPhone immune from some of those issues, or are they going to feel the pinch too?
I think that Apple is not going to be immune. I think that we're in an environment where, they make such great hardware that you don't necessarily need their new hardware, right? People don't need new phones right now. There's not enough innovation, I don't think, in this 14 to justify it if you're looking at your budget, which most people are right now. And so I think that, they were right to say in advance, hey, this is not going to be a doorbuster, release, but they hope to get some newness and to keep the customer loyalty by not raising prices.
I guess the big question is, too, just in terms of the pull forward effect, how many people were buying new phones, new computers, new watches during the pandemic, and does that impact things here? We've been talking about the consumer and its changing habits. I mean, the consumer's been acting, again, like a locust, a bunch of locusts where we move from one thing to the next. And that's hurting these industries that can't keep up with what a fickle consumer it is. Everything from the retailers to now you see it with transportation, e-commerce and everything else that might go along with that. Is there a big pull forward effect? Was there from Apple?
I think that there is definitely something happening where when something's hot, right? Maybe if the Apple Watch ends up being this killer feature that everyone's super excited about with some of the new features they've released there and some of the newness there, it becomes, viral on TikTok, and all of a sudden everybody has to have one for holiday. And to your point, they might end up with out of stocks that they can't satisfy. And then by the time they get them back in stock, the demand is gone. And I think that points to the increasing importance of just-in-time manufacturing and being responsive to what the customer wants, because they want it when they want it, and then tomorrow they don't want it anymore. So if you have the inventory, you can make a ton of money, and if you don't, you're probably going to miss out.